Middle school. Oh, it didn't work. We have to watch it again? Okay. Usually that does the trick. I want to make sure. You usually get some parents to raise their hands on that as well. Looks pretty attractive. Did anybody happen to notice Max in that video? The boy who hugged the teacher at the end and said, "I love you, Mrs. Pine." That's our very own Max Zhang. He's a graduate of our school, a good friend of mine, but a star. He wanted to show the video because he likes to watch himself up on the screen. So he wanted to make sure we show that today. But you know, I think images like that, video like that, kind of puts into, at least I hope, sort of puts into action, you know, what you've heard already tonight. Right before we showed it, we started talking about academics and talking about, you know, tailorization, you know, the individualization of your academic program. What's right for one in this room is not necessarily what's right for others. There is no 9th grade program at the Hill School. Every student takes their own schedule based on your strength, based on your passions. And then as you move along at our school, you begin to have more choice. That's where the influence, the advisory of your advisor, that's what they do. Their job is to help you choose those courses, help you find those routes to get to where you want to go, the way that you define success. Because we have 502 kids, and they all define success differently. And that's our job. We want to get you to that spot. But, you know, and it reminded me actually as we watched the video, the teachers at our school. World-class faculty that frankly, could be working at universities or colleges, but choose to be at a school like the Hill School, to connect with the students which we admit, oftentimes for the connection that they can create. College and university level work often doesn't breed close student and faculty relationships. 700 students in a lecture room with one professor, you're really not going to know that person. You're lucky if they know who you are. At our school, we're talking about 14 students in a classroom, maybe less at some upper level courses. Judy mentioned earlier our classics department. There could be 3 kids in our advanced Greek and Latin seminar, 3 for one teacher. And oh, by the way, that teacher has a PhD, one of the leaders in his field. That is a true academic opportunity, something that occurs at our school because we have the faculty, and we have faculty who choose to be at a school like ours. You know, not to look at it as a goal, but college is obviously a big part of the academic program, preparation. But we talk about where our kids go to college. They leave the Hill School prepared to be members and citizens of communities at the finest institutions in our country and around the world. A third of our graduates in any given year, maybe even just upwards of a third, will end up at the top 50 universities in the country. These are fantastic schools. A third of our kids in the top 50 universities, between 10 and 15% of those at Ivies or Ivy equivalents. Our students are taking the education they gain, the experience they have on our campus, and they are putting that into action and gaining admission at the top universities in the world. That happens every single year. That's not just one kid, not one kid every, once in a while. That every single year our students are achieving at the highest levels, and we're very proud of that. Maybe even more proud of the fact that they get to those universities as prepared citizens, ready to give back, ready to make that community better. Our kids are prepared when they get there. That's extremely important for you all to hear. I did, as we talked, a few of the keystone programs right now, a few programs that are worth highlighting at the Hill School. Judy had mentioned our classics department, one of the only in the country teaching both college level Greek and Latin. That's not necessarily, because we want to be a terrific classic school. We want to be great across our entire curriculum. But when we have fantastic teachers and great students who are engaged, that's how great programs get created. All right, we have a terrific humanities department. The idea of research and writing, right, and engaging in thoughtful conversation with a teacher in a small setting. Humanities has long been, oftentimes in concert with our classics department, a fantastic program. But what about the other end of the spectrum? What about math and sciences? Hill School just this year put into place a brand new engineering curriculum. So probably a few years ago I would imagine, the school decided and endeavored to create not only an integrated math and science curriculum, but then the addition of a true and real engineering program. So we set out and we brought in some of the greatest minds in our country, consultants, to come in and help us do this. And one gentleman by the name of Tim Jump, he worked at a school out in Minnesota, he had created this engineering program that we found to be the fit, a 3-year program built so a student could come in at an entry level and almost their entire time at Hill be enrolled in this course. And Mr. Jump was going through all of these wonderful iterations of his program, and finally we just said, well, come work for us. So Mr. Jump is on faculty now. The program that he authored, his engineering program, is put into place every single day. So popular, in fact, that we have to teach it every single period. Most courses don't get taught 7 times in a day. His course gets taught 7 times in a day. Our students were yearning for that. And that will be a big piece of our quadrivium curriculum. You'll see that on our website, in our literature, the integration essentially of math and science, housed in what we hope will be in 4 years, a brand new quadrivium center in the middle of our campus. A huge change to the way that our school looks and feels. An incredibly modern, state-of-the-art facility that will house all of our science and math courses. So in the scope of one paragraph of time, I've taken you from one end of the spectrum with classics in Greek and Latin and dead languages, all the way to the other end of cutting-edge 21st century skill. You can find what you're interested in at the Hill School. You can find what you're passionate about. We really feel that we want to attract the top, brightest young kids literally in the world. Here I am in Hong Kong on a Tuesday night. Is it Tuesday still? My days are starting to blend together. It is important to us. I can talk a little bit about the admission process. I hope I've kind of stoked the fires a little bit, maybe have some questions that are all on your minds. I do want to get to those questions, so it probably makes sense we'll start right now, and maybe as we go, if I'll talk about the admission process or afterwards with some students and families who are interested. I can act as MC and answer some questions and kind of, push them out. Maybe if perhaps, certain questions are pointed towards parents or alums or what have you. But do we have that one brave soul?